Are you ready for brown gravy? Oh, taste and see, there's a word for you and me. For brown gravy.
Serving the uncompromising truth makes us truly free.
For brown gravy. Open your heart, your mind, your soul, he'll make you whole. For brown gravy.
Preaching with power.
It's the relevant leadership strategist.
Are you ready for brown gravy? Hey guys, how are you? Elder Antoinette, God bless you. Thank you for being here. We are back. It's Monday and it's Millennial Monday. It's Millennial Monday. Yeah, we need to come with a song. I gotta come with a theme song for Millennial Monday. I feel it. Ford said yes to that song. I know, right? Are you ready? That thing just groovy. I absolutely love it. But it fits me. It just fits me. So we are grateful for another opportunity to bring some brown gravy your way. But brown gravy, not just from me, but whatever their gravy might not be brown. We got some William gravy. We got some Majette gravy. I think we're gonna have some Pinky gravy. I don't see him yet in the green room. It might just be Majed and Alan. And there is some conversations that we're going to have tonight that's going to be a blessing to all who listening in. So here's what I need you to do. Tag somebody. Yeah, they're not doing anything. Everybody's still safe, sheltered in place, basically, or at home. It's late. They can't go to the movies. Movies are not open. Restaurants close around 8 now. So you can't sit in there, and if you try to get to the restaurant, they're already at capacity. So you might as well not do any of that. Just sat down, tune in, because something is going to be said tonight that's going to be an absolute blessing to all of you. We got some topics to discuss, and I got some wonderful people to help me discuss them. And I hopefully you're ready. It's going to be big. Yeah, it's going to be big. I'm the I in the whole BIG thing. So it's going to be big. As you're sharing and as you're tagging, thank you for that. I appreciate that. Make sure that you try to tag some millennials as well. This discussion is kind of geared towards them. And let's get busy. It's already a little after 9, and I want to give, and we got a special guest. So usually it's just the Pinkies, Alan, and Naya. Now her name is not Naya when you see it down there. She has whatever, but we have a special guest today, and it's a tag team, by the way. It's the Majettes, but it's another set. Okay, yeah, it's another set of them. There's a lot of them now. It's a heap of them. Bless their heart. I was telling my wife the other day, I don't know if Trisha's watching this, but Deacon Trisha and Deacon Randy, I said, man, their seed going to be here on this earth forever, right? Until they're going to be a Majette somewhere on the earth till the Lord come back, because they like everywhere. It's a lot of them. Thank God. I appreciate that. I appreciate them. So they're going to be a part of our conversation. They're our special guests tonight. And we'll see how it goes. So we're bringing the Purpose Fanatic. Dr. Allen, how are you, sir?
Hey, Bishop, I'm well, sir. How are you today?
I'm working toward being at my best.
Awesome, man. Awesome.
Yeah. What's your shirt say?
Oh, man, this is Dream, Wake, and Achieve.
See, you guys, I'm sick of y'all. Y'all always catch me, though. You know that, because I'm running on Mondays, and so I'm not thinking about, okay,
right.
Let me post a shirt that say something.
Right.
While I'm talking. I love black. I got like 13,000 black shirts, so I just put on a black shirt, and that's it.
Yes, sir.
Y'all make me so sick, man. All these messages. I mean, I love it, but I hate it. Yeah. So we also got the Pinkies, and you already know they're sick, man. But here to go. Look at that. The Pinkies are with us. They chilling too. I love your shirts.
I love it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great meaning behind that one. And our special guest tonight are the Majettes, the newly married Majettes. They wanted to come on. They said they wanted to have a conversation with us. So I don't know if they knew what they were asking for. But here you go. The Majettes are in the house.
Hello there.
Hello.
So I got all y'all in, and true fashion, my computer is trying to freeze, but as long as you can hear me, then we can go with that. I got a couple of questions that I want to ask you, and we'll move throughout and circle throughout all of you all as we talk about it. So the Majettes might not know this topic because we were just talking with Pinky and Alan. But if you all do know anything about it, you're more than welcome to chime in. Oh, you got everybody speaking to y'all over there. I didn't even get a chance to pop into that up, but they're speaking to everybody on the panel. So one big hail be good for all of them. Thank you, everybody. Yeah. Okay, so we didn't get a chance to talk about it, although I've talked about it with my college students and I've also talked about it with my high schoolers, but I didn't get a chance to talk about it with you all. And that is the topic of Miss Candace. I believe her last name is Owens. Sister Owens. Yeah, Sister Owens. So I wanna get your thoughts on her comment. Now, I've seen some other things that she said prior to that. They had another panel and had her up, and she was talking about some other things. And I mean, she's an educated woman. I'll say that. She's educated. She can hold her tongue very well. But, well, I won't say but. I want to hear from you all. I want to hear from you. What was your thoughts on that video that she put up after the death of George Floyd? What did you think? How did you feel? Yeah, I'll just stop talking. You chime in.
Okay, we'll go first. So last week we got to watch it, and we kind of got into a discussion. Sorry, that's nice in the back. But we got into a little bit of a debate between ourselves because for me, like, I guess she wanted, it's understandable to a point because I guess she wanted to make it known that the guy wasn't a saint. But at the same time, it's like, I was telling Chris, like, the thing that happened with George Floyd, it was just like the straw on the camel's back. It was like, you know, I think the people in the African American community was like, you know, enough is enough. And I think that I think with that being like the last straw for us or a lot of African Americans, I think she just wanted to, she wanted to make it known that he wasn't a saint. And I think that although her facts about him may have been true, it's like, I don't know. I feel like she felt like he was getting more attention than he deserved. He was getting celebrated when he shouldn't have. But I just think that we can't help that he was chosen as he was the person who, you know, we said enough is enough. Like, we can't help that he wasn't a saint. Like, this is what I was telling Chris, like, would she have been happier if it was somebody who didn't write a bad check or somebody who wasn't maybe on drugs or whatever the case may have been? Like, we can't help that at the end of the day, he still lost his life unnecessarily. And so the crimes that he committed, nobody is the judge but God. You know what I'm saying? The police officer shouldn't have been the judge to take his life, although he wasn't a saint. So I don't know. That's how our conversation was. We was just kind of going back and forth.
Yeah. So initially, I think just objectively, just trying to look at it or understand is I feel like she was just trying to say that she didn't want his face to be the reason why Black Lives Movement started, Black Lives Matter movement started moving the way it did. It's as if she would rather it be in another face and not his. But it wasn't. It was horrible timing. It was horrible. She should have never, because I mean, just thinking about the fact that she actually took time to go and research this man's personal life, all of his infractions, all of his citations, everything that he possibly done. She took time to go study that. It seemed as if more than she took time to actually judge the act of the police officer. So I mean, just the fact that she did that, it was disgusting. Honestly, I was disgusted because she had no reason to, I guess, parade all of his, all of his personal, just like I said, infractions, everything he did as far as like criminally wise. She had no reason to do that. That is also public knowledge. If we really wanted to know or cared to know, we could have go searched it ourselves. And she didn't have to do that. I just kind of feel like it was way too much. And as smart as she is, that was a very dumb move. It just wasn't smart at all to even bring that up, because it wasn't that time. That's not the time you do that. And nor do I think there's ever a time to do that. Because at the end of the day, that had nothing to do with the fact that he was killed senselessly. That had nothing to do with the fact that the man put his knee on his neck. All of those previous crimes or whatever she wanted to bring up had nothing to do with that particular situation. And it was not up to that police officer to be the judge and jury and take this man's life away, sentence him to death, literally. And so that has nothing to do with anything, because it just didn't. I just felt like it was unnecessary, and it really kind of ticked me off a little bit, because he don't get to defend himself. He doesn't get to say anything about he doesn't get to say anything about what she said. He does. We don't know what it was that caused him to maybe steal anything. We don't know what. I work in law enforcement, and one thing that I realized, when a lot of times people think that people just steal. Sometimes there's a need that's oftentimes greater than the risk, and we don't know what it was. We don't know what that need was that he had to. We don't know the other reason he had to write a bad check. We don't know what that is. We don't even know if he wrote a bad check on purpose, or if we don't know the intent by that. So I don't feel like it was necessary for her to do that. And I think as a community of people, we have to be diligent at just kind of like calling that out. Like, that's not right. You're just wrong. You had no reason to do that. But that's how I feel about that.
Candace. It's so many things we can say about Candace, man. Oh man, goodness gracious. And now just wasn't the time, Candace. Now just wasn't the time. I guess I'll start here. I guess I'll start here. Everybody has a platform, right? Everybody's building a platform. Everybody's standing on some type of platform. And I mean, the pink elephant in the room really isn't a pink elephant. Is Candace's platform hasn't always been painting the best picture of the African American. Her first, I'll say, I mean, she is smart, she is bright, she's an activist, and just by virtue of her, being African American, some of her past works and even some things that she's continuing to work on has enhanced the credibility of the African American activist. However, with this video right here, now just wasn't the time for that. I see what she was doing. I know that Candace is driving a narrative that is only about her. I mean, at this point, Candace really doesn't care, how African Americans really view her. I mean, like, she doesn't really care that we say, Candace, listen, like, no, this wasn't right. This wasn't right, because she has a motive that's all about her and where she's going. So she's using her platform for that matter. And she's making that plain to us all. But to Chris's point, though, it's because when we get to a place where we're really taking our attention off of the person, off of a human being, off of a person with the same, he has a soul just like all of us on this live and our audience. He has a soul just like we have a soul. So at the same time, whenever we shift our focus from a person being a human being and a person having a right to live, and whenever we begin to justify a person's worth by what they did, we automatically got it wrong. We automatically begin to get away from the real point at hand, and that's what happened with this situation right here. It's just no matter what George Floyd did, I'm a branch manager. I've been in banking for 10 years. Listen, if everybody who passed along counterfeit bills was not even killed, but in prison or whatever, listen, those numbers would be shocking. I see counterfeit bills at least twice a week, and there's no police coming to get them. There's a protocol where that money has to be sent back to the U.S. Treasury, has to go through a process, has to be tracked before anything can happen to that person. So you can't tell me that this guy doesn't deserve the respect, the honor that he's getting by virtue of everything that we've been facing for the past 400 years. And like Delana said, he was just a tipping point. So we're not really, doing anything that we shouldn't be doing. But you can't say that because he exchanged a counterfeit bill, if that was the case, or wrote a counterfeit check, if that was the case, that he deserved to die. So it's just so many points in there. But I think Candace has her own mission, of course.
Candace has her own mission, of course. Oh Lord! All right, Majets. I don't know if you guys know anything about that. I see Naya. We got her now on here. I know that she had a chance to watch the video. Did you guys see the video?
Yes, sir.
Oh, you did? Okay, so you can chime in then. We'll save Naya for last.
What I really had to say about the video basically piggybacks off of, what everybody else was saying. To take the attention off of a man being murdered based off of his past, it really didn't make any sense. Like, we're trying to get equality and you want to pull up a background. Like, nobody asked you to go and be, an investigator or a detective to go and take the attention off of us getting, treated equally and treated as we're supposed to be treated. If that was the case, I guess everybody that got killed by a cop, we should know their track record. We should know, Trayvon Martin, for example. Say, for instance, he stole those Skittles. You get what I'm saying? Like, she didn't dig deep into everybody else's background, to try to, bring to the forefront the type of person that they was in the past versus, the bigger picture of why it is that he's being put on the forefront. Like Delana was saying, that was the hay on the camel's back. You get what I'm saying? So, like, we just sick of it. Like, period, point blank, we sick of it. And that's really all I can say, because they basically said everything else.
I definitely saw the video, and to me, her statement was insensitive and irrelevant to the topic and the problem at hand. His background had nothing to do with the bigger issue, which is beyond what any of his background could consist of, because the issue at hand has been going on for years. So his background couldn't even equal up to what the issue is. she reminds me of, and I hope nobody takes offense to this when I say this, of black people who support Trump. And what I mean by that is some people, when they don't feel like they fit in a certain area, instead of they'll deflect the issue to grab attention themselves. And that's what she did with this situation. She took a situation that and use it for her selfish gain to grab attention for herself. And it is clear as day that racism was involved there, just like clear as day Trump is racist as all get out. But as African Americans who support that, it's basically saying I'm going to use this platform for myself to grab attention. And that's exactly what she did with her platform. Instead of supporting what's right, she did it for selfish gain.
All right, Nia. So what's your thoughts?
Um, hey everybody. Um, just kind of jumping right in. Whenever I initially saw the video, I think I messaged you and I was like, "What in the world is this? Like, what was she thinking about whenever she decided to make this video?" Um, I literally felt disgusted, for lack of better words, because I didn't get to hear everybody's point of view, but just hearing the tail end and coming in on Man and Jasmine's points and hearing them kind of piggyback off of Alan and Chris and Delana, um, we all pretty much have the same point of view in the sense of like it was literally her taking a situation that is very heartfelt and very a situation that's full of different emotions for everybody and making it about her. One of the things that really, really stuck out to me out of the whole crazy corrupted video was the fact that she kept saying, I'm not going to be a part of basically the low class of Black people about making him a martyr or making criminals martyrs. And I was sitting there listening to her talk, and I was getting more and more irritated with her because I'm like, okay, out of one side of your neck, you're saying, oh, nobody deserves to die. But then you try to justify your ignorance by, as Meme stated to Randy, Meme, I call Meme, Meme stated, saying his background, like his things that he did in the past and tried to make it relevant to the point that he basically, in a sense, deserved to die because he's a criminal. And that had nothing to do with the fact that he's a human being, as well as all of us are. And real life, that could have been her dad. I wonder if, that was a brother or a cousin or a person in her family, if her opinion and or her video would have changed from what it was that she was saying. And the fact that she just kept degrading the race of African Americans, Black people as a whole, I kept looking at her like, do you not realize that you are Black? Like, like pure point blank, you are definitely one of us. And I was just, like I said, I was disgusted, and I had a bunch of emotions going through me because a part of me wanted to like jump through the screen on her and literally be like, kind of thing. Because I couldn't fathom the fact that she was really sitting there like backing this up with this man's past and trying to play God, basically. Like she literally was sitting there saying, well, he did this. Oh, but he didn't deserve to die. But I'm just saying, imagine the Black lady that he put a gun to her stomach. She was Black. How does she feel? Like, don't try to think for her. This is your thoughts. This is your ignorance. This is on you, you know? And I just, she's not a person that I'm gonna look at much of her stuff. I didn't even want to finish looking because I felt like I was giving her credibility and giving her, giving her views. But I had to go all the way to the end of the video, for the sake of this conversation. But that part in itself, she's like, I won't support wearing him on a t-shirt, this, that, and the third. Nobody's asking you to buy a t-shirt. Nobody's asking you real life for your opinion. That's your opinion. But your opinion in the state of my mind, and obviously in the states of all of our minds and a lot more people outside of us, you off. Because you're still trying to justify the fact that this man was killed, and it's like you're still trying to say he deserved to die based on the fact of his track record. And it's like it was just too much flip-flopping going on in her point of view for me.
Yeah, so two things I thought about as you guys were talking. One, and it's literally what you just finished saying there. The black on black crime statement as a juxtaposition to racism. And those two things, there's no way to even speak those same things in the same sentence to justify racism. All right. So it's almost as if, well, y'all killing one another, it's all right for me to kill you. But, we don't say anything about white on white crime. We don't say anything about vanilla on vanilla crime. We don't say anything about, you see what I'm saying? So Chinese on Chinese, nobody, I mean, we didn't say it was crime when we watched Kung Fu movies, right? They were killing one another with the dragon style. I mean, you see what I'm saying? So that's never brought up. So it's only brought up again to deflect from this deep-seated, rooted evil called racism that you got to drink. That's a cup that they poured that they don't want to drink. Now, when I say they, I'm not talking about current people that don't have that in their heart. But even to a degree, I've heard some Caucasians apologize for the infractions of their forefathers because they get it. It's like, oh no, I get it. And we owe you all an apology because of that. And so I think when they start mentioning this black on black stuff, that just means they don't want to drink their own. They don't want to drink the tea they gave us to sip. They want us to just agree with sipping it. So since we kill one another, then hey, that is not the same thing at all. That's number one. Number two, she kept calling him a martyr. Well, let's talk definitions. Definitions are important. The definition of a martyr is someone who voluntarily gives their life over for a cause. Now, I didn't hear him saying, I volunteer for you to kill me so I can stand and be the face for a Black Lives Matter movement. He didn't do that. So he cannot be a martyr because it was not willing. He didn't sign up. He didn't say, yep, pick me. I'm the one. Make sure you step on my. That wasn't what he said. He was there screaming for his mother. So then he can't be a martyr. He was murdered. It's an M. It's just another M word. It's not martyr. It's murder. She needed to change that up some and say it the right way. You can't be a martyr there. You're a murderer. He was murdered, and that is the fact. He's not the hero that we're making. That's being made. He was the catalyst of enough is enough, and I think Delana said that. So it was just that by that time it was like, we're done. I'm done with this. And we move forward from here because of that. Now, if we, well, I won't even get into the next part. It'll take us too long for me to unpack what I'm getting ready to say. But yeah, no, he's not the hero. We're not making him a hero, or at least the people who understand, they're not making us a hero. They're saying that this now, ladies and gentlemen, is something that many of us, and you're looking at the screen, if you're just joining us, this is Millennial Monday with a panel of millennials, and we're discussing topics that's dealing with our world from their perspective, from a millennial perspective. And you got a group of bright, brilliant world changers that's giving their viewpoint and opinion on different topics. Right now, we're discussing the topic of our dear sister Candace Owens, and yeah, we're trying to help the sister, or understand the sister at least. And as I think Alan said when he first came on, Candace, you way too smart to say something so dumb. That's you paid for that dumb statement. You like bought that one. You spent money for that because you had to pay for that because you way too smart to just let that come out your mouth. And so okay, we got to get off Candace, because if we stay in Candace, we're gonna be mad the whole night. We're gonna be like, fight the power. We're gonna get on the red, the black, the green, and go out and march. It's a little too late to do that. So let's move to another topic. I was kind of thinking a little bit today and yesterday, a couple of days, and I knew I was going to be talking to you all, and it fits you more than it fits my college and my high school kids. And I was thinking about parenting, right? And I was thinking about how when I came up, I felt like my parents did not understand anything, that I could not get them to see the forest for the trees. I thought I knew it all. I thought I had all the answers. And then I grew up and had kids, and something changed. So I want to kind of hear from you millennial parents, who you're not that far from that teenage college year, teenage high school, early 21-year-old college or so year, that you can't remember how you felt in your parents' house, and now you're out your parents' house with kids, thinking, you know what, they might have. Well, I won't say what you're thinking. I want to hear what you're thinking, based upon the fact that you now have children. Anybody can jump in.
Okay, I'll start. So, yeah, parenting. Let me start. Let me start here. So, some of you know that I had Nene. I was, gosh, I feel old with this age. I was 20, 20-ish, something like that. And oh man, she's about to be 10 now. And the youngest baby that I have is 9 months, and he's now walking. Um, y'all, listen. I wish I would have said. I wish. Listen, I wish that I could be like, you know what? I just want to sit back and be the cute auntie. Y'all, don't get me wrong. I love my babies to life. I love them. They are beautiful little people. They are funny. They are, sometimes a handful. It's like literally I have 3 girls, so like in every one of them, I see a different phase of Naya. And it freaks me out sometimes because I have one that's so calm and put together, and it takes a lot to get her reared up. Yeah. Then I have one in the middle who is like kind of like in between the two extremes. And then I have J Love, the baby girl, who is with what? He's hard. No, I wouldn't give him back. But yeah, y'all know Jayla, yeah. She's the firecracker, I could say. Like she's the one you can't get too close in her space. And I think my boy is the calmest out of everybody. He's the chill kid. But I really, truly wish I had done things a little bit different. There were times in my parents' house where, you know, I felt like I knew better than them. Only because I felt like, well, I'm living this right now. You know, y'all didn't live this. Y'all live what y'all lived back then. You know, y'all old. I know they watching. Y'all ain't old for real, but yeah, technically, you know, kind of thing. But then I was like, you know, y'all lived y'all life. You know, I'm living right now. I'm living right now, kind of thing. But one of the coolest things, I'm not gonna lie, I love being a mom. It's a learning experience every day. Because they grow every day and you learn something new about them every day. Definitely work. Listen, that's a full-time lifetime job. That's a job you can't take a break from. Um I I love being a parent. Like I said, it gets difficult sometimes, but you got to do it. You lose sleep, you lose what you would call quote unquote free time. You walk around with baggies, dark circles. You know, if you're tired and they're sick, suck it up. You know, so I'm gonna say this to our, yeah, to our viewers that are watching. If you don't have children and your mom is telling you you better leave that boy alone, or no, you're not going to that such and such that this time of night, you need to listen, okay? Because I promise you, to try to go to school with kids is difficult. Whether it's online school, going to a school, um, whatever, it's difficult. If you don't have a babysitter and you have a job, you lose them because they ain't gonna care if you ain't got no sitter. They hired you to do a job. So it's some things that come with being a parent that affect you real life. And you still have to be able to, first and foremost, if you have God, that's awesome. You have a support system, that's awesome. But it's still tough. It's tough. You love them, but it's tough. And that's just real life. That's just real speaking right there. But yeah, I'm a mute off.
All right, somebody else.
Yeah. Wanna go first?
No,
All right. So look, I was thinking about I was thinking about it from a generational type of perspective. Um, how when my how can I say this? I always hear older people say that I don't know how to take a village to raise a child, this, that, and the third. And it really does. But I think one of the advantages that I believe like the baby boomer generation that they kind of had over us is that they typically they had both parents around. Typically, I think in a millennial generation, it's more of single parenting. Um, and that's where I want to kind of talk about, um, for myself, my own self. How, it was kind of raising Ananias was or raising Ananias is like one of the most difficult tasks because how do you parent a child when you've never been parent? You know, when you've never experienced that, you don't know how it feels to uh, be told that you got chores, or you don't know uh, how it feels to be responsible, and how it feels to live in a house with standards. Um, like how do you articulate that to your child? Without being so frustrated about him or her not doing it. Um, so I mean, it's scary. You know what I'm saying? Like it's scary. It's scary. Zion, you should be scared right now. I don't think I'll be typing too much in that inbox. Oh yeah. Okay. But yeah, uh, I think one of my fear was, like, am I doing it right? As a millennial, sometimes That's what that's one of our fears. Like, are we doing, am I parenting right? Am I doing enough? Am I feeding him too much? Am I not feeding him enough? And some of these questions as a millennial, it comes from bad parenting, or like I said before, not having that around. And that's been one of my biggest thankfully, I have my wife. I do have a wife, you know what I'm saying? We raise our son together, thankfully. Uh, but just trying to think about it from a millennial perspective, you like entirely, most millennials, they parent by themselves. It's a lot of single millennials that try to handle handle their children by themselves. And I just think you know, just kind of, I guess, objectively trying to view millennial parenting from not necessarily from my standpoint, but I just feel like it's challenging, man. It's challenging because, like you said, that same village, like I said earlier, that same village that grandma and granddaddy talked about earlier, growing up, that we ain't got that village no more. Now grandma say take care of your own kids. You can't take your kids to grandma's house without her calling you another hour. Hey, all right now. Come get your child. It's yours. You made it. You know what I'm saying? And and I mean, you used to do stuff like that. But it's just like I honestly kind of not regret, but I honestly kind of hate the fact my son don't get to experience some of the stuff I experienced growing up. As a young boy, having to fight, having to go outside, having to play kickball with your family, having to throw a football, having to, do some of those stuff that I used to do when I was a young kid because, we all got a chance to go outside and run and do it. But nowadays, as a parent, you got to be careful about letting your child outside for a certain time. You don't know who's around. You don't know what perpetrator is trying to snatch your child up. You know what I'm saying? And it's scary. It is scary, and it is fascinating at the same time.
So wait, now I gotta jump in. So you said it's scary, huh?
Oh yeah.
Right. And so then some of the decisions you make for your son is based upon that fear.
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. I'm coming back around the mountain when I come. Go ahead.
Oh yeah. I feel like I've said it. I feel like I've said a lot. But that's just it is a fear. There's this fear of making sure, like this fear of making sure that I do enough as a father, that I put my thumbprint on my son, that I can lead him in the right way, to show him how to be a man, how to act, how to not be so emotionally distraught by certain things. And it's like I'm hard on him. Sometimes like I look at him and I just push him on purpose. Just to see how tough he is. Like it's just some of this stuff is, and y'all pray for me because I'm saying this live. But it's just a fear. I'm gonna leave. I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna let them say
that. Yeah, so this whole experience, people with you guys that's on here with more than one child, more power to you. I commend you all. Because we have a almost he will actually be 4 tomorrow, and it's something that is very it's a learning process, especially for the both of us. Because as Chris stated, he came, he didn't really have. It's hard for him because he didn't really have that nobody to tell him what to do. And me, I come from a jail. Okay, I know you won't hear, but they did not play. Okay, no, they didn't play. We couldn't watch BET and all of that. Okay, so that is the type of household that I grew up in. And yeah,
she'll kill you.
I know. So it's just like one extreme to the next, and we're trying to raise our son together, and so we have those.
Yeah.
That's it's kind of tough for us sometimes. Like I grip too tight, and sometimes he try to let him be. So that's one of the things that we struggle with when it comes to parent. But as a millennial and kind of thinking back on, how I was raised, one of the things that's very prominent to me is my teenage years. And so that's where I just want to talk from just for a few minutes. And I'm going to read something to y'all. So I'm going to take a second. I'm working on my second book right now. And I was just writing on something. I was just writing about something like this. So basically, I talked about, give me 1 second. I grew up during a time where sayings like stay in the child's place was common. In the African American household, that meant that certain questions were not asked. It also meant that certain explanations were not given. Statements such as these resulted in holding a lot of emotions inside. As a teenager, one may struggle between obedience and understanding. I knew to obey my parents, but there came a time when I knew too much. And my understanding outweighed their responsibility to behave. The lack of explanation led to curiosity. One way to describe me during those days, as my parents might tell it, was mouthy. They felt as if I always had something to say towards them. My reality is that I was just lashing out because I held so much inside. The reason behind the result was never explored, only reprimanded. Imagine a volcano. If enough magma reaches the top, an eruption will occur. Your emotions are the magma in your mind or body, and you are the volcano. To ensure that magma does not get too thick, you have to be conscious about releasing the gas bubbles of your emotions to avoid the eruption. So basically,
That was good though, by the way.
thanks. But basically, in that has a lot to do with how me and Chris decided to parent Anais.
Yeah.
It's more about. I mean, not saying that's just how we were raised. I mean, it worked. It taught us, it made us and shaped us who we are today. But I think some people don't like the way me and Chris parent. Like, for example, if a nice get in trouble and we, he get beaten or whatever, we'll have a conversation. Or like we overly explain, what it is that he did wrong. We don't just beat him and say, that's it. Or we just don't punish them and say because I say so, and I just that was one difference that we're talking about parenting and raising children, what we do differently than how we were raised.
By the way, I do that too. That's how I raised my kids. They couldn't stand it at first because they didn't want to talk to me after they got a spanking. But come on in this room. Let's have a conversation about what went wrong and why you got your rump toe up. Because I don't want you blaming this on me.
Right.
This ain't my fault. This your fault. See, right. My thing to them has always been, you can always choose what you want to do. You just can't choose the consequence. You see. Now do it. Go ahead now. You can do it, but you ain't going to choose the consequence. I'm going to choose the consequence. And you might not like it, right? So you might want to think about that before you do anything. But I always felt like having a discussion would help the matter and not destroy it. You see what I'm saying? Or destroy them, because we came up also used to talk. You didn't. You ain't talk no mad to me. Now they do know that part. They ain't talk mad. They gonna talk. You better straighten your face up, because if they look like they're mad, we going back at it. So then now they got to get beat again, and now it's a double beating. Because your second beating is because your attitude messed up right now. So when you talk, you can talk without attitude. Yeah, it's a little different here, in Jesus' name. But I think that's beautiful. And what you wrote, amazing. I can't wait for that book to come out. Certainly proud of you. All right, Alan, hop on in, man.
Man. So many memories. so many memories, man. The times are totally different. The times, I mean, I was raised by a single mother, and I'm a strong single mother. I'm talking about, I played 0 games, and I'm from the go out there, get me a Switch, and then I'm not going to tell you if that Switch isn't to my liking. Then yeah, I'm gonna beat you with this little Switch you bought me, and then I'm gonna make you go get another Switch.
Listen now.
listen. So yeah, so the times are totally different. Now with Amari, I have an 8-year-old. His name is Amari, and love him to death. So bright. But to your point from earlier, Bishop, he reminds me so much of me, man. And it's it's crazy. It's because I like to think of myself as a young thought leader, you know, like when I was about 5 or 6, you know, like I'm gonna put it in parentheses as a thought leader, and a communicator. But I talked a little bit too much, and I thought a little bit too ahead of my time. And I just remember situations. I mean, you know, I was inquisitive, you know, and I remember being in the store, and I knew my mom was a hard woman, but you know, it just came out. And I remember being in the store one time, and we were going down the aisle, and I asked, hey, you know, can I get this? And she was like, no. And you know, we already had the pregame talk before we went in the store. Like, listen, we going in here, we're going in to get this. That's it. You say anything, that's it. That's no words. So I
wait, what'd you call it? What'd you call it? The pregame.
We had the pregame pep talk. We had the pregame pep talk in the Corolla before we went into the store. We had it. And so we went in there, you know, and so I'm like, can I get this? And she's like, no. And so, you know, that communicator came out. And so I was like, you know, well, why can't I get that? And she, when I said, why can't I get that? All I saw was, you know, like on the inside of your knuckle, these little things right here. All I saw was that coming right down. And y'all, I'm telling you, when I thought my mouth was leaking, I'm telling you. So listen, so the times are different, but I say all that to say, my little man is so similar. You know, he's a thought leader of sorts and a communicator. And man, you know, sometimes I have those flashbacks where I'm like, listen, and we were, you know, he had a little episode yesterday at church, you know, and we had to go off in the finance room, and I'm like, listen, you don't want to play that game today. You don't want to play that game today. So yeah, man. I can definitely see myself in them, man. And but the times are different, man. I think Chris said it earlier, when him and Delaney was talking. It's just, you know, now with the speed of technology, with the information that they get so quickly, with just how the world is fashioned, it's just so we have to be creative. We have to be very creative to be effective in our kids' lives, and that's just what I do. Another burden that they shared earlier, that I share too. Another burden is, you know, just making sure that I'm reverencing the responsibility of being a parent. So it's not just that, hey, you know, does he like me? Does he want to hang out with me? That's cool. But again, you know, I was raised to, I mean, she didn't give any explanation. Like that was it. And so I just have to, but on the other hand, and before I toss it to the Majets, on the other hand though, yeah, like she had that respect for me. Like I knew not to cross those boundaries like that. But she didn't communicate like you were giving that example, Bishop. Like, you know, like, I mean, like she was a single parent, you know, like she had so many things going, trying to provide for my brother and I. She worked two and a half jobs at times. And so like, she didn't really communicate effectively. So yeah, I respected her, but I didn't really know why. And she meant well. She probably knew why. She probably just didn't have time to, you know, get into all of that. And that's one of the things that myself and even her now as a grandmother, she has a lot more time now. She's more collected. But that's one thing that we try to do to Amari is we try to communicate them and balance the two. Just balance the two, discipline and communication, just so we can help, you know, stretch them. But yeah, man, flashbacks.
I hear you, sir. Quandale, listen, I'm gonna have to get you on one of our Millennial Monday nights. Quandale is a brilliant. He's not necessarily. Well, I think he's more Generation Z, but he's close to the millennials. Brilliant young man. I got to get him brought in from New Jersey, a part of Kingdom Fellowship of Ministries. But yes, sir. I'm just loving this conversation. I got one more question after I let the Majets speak on their experience with kids. I had a conversation with them earlier about kids, and we were laughing. We kind of laughed about something. I'm not gonna say it right now, but yeah. So you all go ahead.
Go ahead, Beth.
So he wants me to start first, so I start first. Growing up, my parents were, and God, I thank you for them because I didn't realize it then. But as any child, you think, oh, they're strict, they don't understand, this a different time era, this isn't the same, but really the principles are the same. And so for my dad, he was always the type, and I used to hate it then, but I understand it now. Like you said, instead of after, my dad would have a conversation with me before I got a beating and include the Bible in it as to why I'm getting a beating. So, my parents were really, they really inculcated God in me at an early age and a relationship with Him. And so I didn't appreciate it then because it's just like, I want to be a kid or I want to be a teenager and I want to do things like my peers, but really they were saving me and I didn't understand. And I went through a period of rebellion, and this is just kind of like a warning to um either millennials or the generation behind me. When your parents are telling you something, they're not telling you because they're trying to entrap you. They're telling you because they're trying to protect you, either from previous mistakes or from what a knowledge of what the world is around them. So for me, because I had this know-it-all attitude and I wanted to experience life on my own, I went out and I made a few mistakes, and some were larger than others. And I don't regret my daughter at all, but in my freshman or sophomore year, I had a child and ended up marrying the wrong person. And I'm blessed to have a seed from that marriage. But, ultimately it was the decisions was made out of rebellion. And so it cost me a lot because it took me 10 years to graduate school. So when your parents are telling you something, listen. I don't care how you feel about it at the time. I don't care how unrelatable it sounds. Listen, because they know. I can honestly say if I brought anybody to either one of my parents and they say XYZ, 9 out of 10 times they're right. They're not wrong, and it's because it's that thing called wisdom that we young people don't have the time to acknowledge or acquire. And that's something that we need to understand and really realize and listen to as young people when people are giving it to us.
Mm. Whew. Lord, I don't know who to start on, Trisha or Randolph. Um, but growing up, I can honestly say that we grew up with our parents, and I don't really blame them based off of the way that they raised us because they was raised by somebody, and then their parents was raised by somebody. So all in all, we were getting different types of upbringing through our parents, and they just did the best that they could, and I guess made changes here and there. Because I remember my dad was saying he was getting beatings by his pops, just in case. I was like, what? So you tell me you got to whoop it just in case you act up? I was like, Jesus, like, like I felt bad. I felt bad for him. I was like, I hope that ain't the plan that's gonna go on here. But so yeah, so I guess you just sometimes got to roll with the punches based off, you know, how your parents was raised, because that's all they're really going off of. You know, I look now and I'm just like, Jesus, because I went to school and I was parlaying. So yeah, when they tell you to slow down, my young men, like I'm talking to my young men, like honestly, I wasn't ready for no kid. I wasn't ready for kids. I was still a kid myself. I was a kid trying to do adult things, thinking that I was ready to take on responsibility and, go out here, try to enjoy myself, and thinking I was grown. End up having my oldest boy. I had him coming out of high school, I think. I think I had him when I was 20. Yeah, I had my oldest boy at 20 years old. He's 8. I'm 20. Yeah. So, man, just pump your brakes
Please.
Take your time. First of all, learn who you are. Get over, man, traumas, insecurities. Really, like, you really got to take your time, honestly, because I don't want to pour into my kids, dysfunction of who I was growing up. You know, I just always thought that, okay, so I was skinny. I was skinny with a big head. And I was like, dang, like, I guess I ain't never gonna get big. I thought I looked like a little duck or something. Like, I was just a little insecure. I knew I was a light skinned buddy. I was like, all right, hopefully my light skinnedness will help me out somewhere along the lines. Then I started, oh, you got pretty eyes and blah, blah, blah. Okay, cool. So now I'm feeling myself. So, but with that being said, it was the wrong type of attention that I needed. It was the wrong type of attention that I got, not needed. It's the wrong attention that I got. So what I'm saying is, just basically make sure you know who you are before you step out here to try to have kids, and then you raising your kids in some screwed up mentality or some mess that you had going on prior to growing up. Because we only gonna do what it is that we feel is right, quote unquote, and it's absolutely wrong. You might got people out here looking at you like, "What the world are you doing?" Like, that's a kid, But we just so comfortable with who we are and comfortable in our dysfunction that we honestly think that we're doing something correct, and it's completely wrong.
Yeah, so thank you for that. Something that as I was listening to all of you all, and again, most of you, with the exception of Alan, I've watched, and with the exception of Jasmine, I've watched grow up. I mean, literally grow up. So I knew the high school for many of y'all, and I think maybe even middle school, you man days. I remember those days. And I'm just thinking back to some of the things that was said and done then to what I watch you all say and do to your kids. And something Chris said that I wanted to swing back around to, and it was, because I want to protect you, this is why I did. And I don't know if I don't know how to maybe make that translated outside of having these conversations like we're having now, and talking to them when reprimands happen, for them to understand it's fear and protection that makes you make the decisions that you make. Now, most of you don't have kids at my baby's age, my oldest kid age. So when that age comes in, things change, man. Things starts kind of, changing a little bit more, and it'll shift. And your fear and anxiety picks up even more. And there are a lot of things you'll need to say and want to say that may not be they want to hear. We're gonna have to talk about this next Monday because we just don't have enough time to talk about it. You all kept saying you just wanted to live your life. I want to know what that means. Okay, so next Monday, I want to talk about, when we hear the statement, "I just want to live my life," what did you mean then? And if you could have a conversation with yourself now, back then, what would you tell yourself? That's kind of where we're going to go. That's where we're going to go next time around. Okay, that'll be one of the topics. I got another one in my back pocket for something else we're going to discuss. We got to kind of dig in deeper with this church piece, because we started talking, but we kind of left it. We're coming back to the church because, you all are the next leaders, and many of you lead leaders now in your churches. So I need to get an understanding from you all as it relates to the complexion of the church right now. How do you see the landscape of ministry right now? All right. So we're going to hit those two things next time around. So as we do every time we do Millennial Monday, we give each one of you an opportunity to kind of have a closing thought with your generation. Now, remember, after we end the broadcast, I want y'all to stay on the screen for a minute and we'll have a couple of conversations afterwards. But I want you, each one of you, to take a few moments and to speak 35 seconds to 45 seconds, a minute at the most, to minister to the people that's watching, that's in your generation. It could be about what we talked about today. It could be about a topic that we've discussed before, or it could literally be just something that's on your heart and on your mind that you would like to release to someone watching right now. Maybe you feel led to speak to someone else. Take that 35 seconds to a minute, and each one of you begin to speak to that generation. God bless you, Bishop Rush. Thank you for joining us. Who are we going to start with? We're going to start with our special guests. Since they are our special guests today, we're going to be hospitable and let them go first. And so, Majets, you can unmute yourself, and you're coming to the front.
Basically, what I want to tell everybody in my generation, well, anybody, honestly, take your time. Make sure you know exactly who you are. Make sure you know what it is that you're looking for. I want to go to the young ladies. Young ladies, make sure when you do come around to finding whoever it is that you're talking to, make sure what they say to you is not a not a make sure it's a compliment to what you already know about yourself, is what I'm trying to say. So don't let it be something to your ear that you need. If they do say something compliment wise, just make sure you know in yourself, okay, well, I already knew that, but I appreciate your compliment. Fellas, stop being out here trying to dang on just be a smooth talker. If you really know that you're not mentally ready to be in no relationship, and you out here to play games, different things like that, stop wasting these females' time. Make sure you out here getting on your grind. Make sure you out here doing what you need to do to bring some type of support and stability to a person's life, and not just coming in life just a ramshack and wreck. I can honestly say that because I've done that, like, because I was immature out here trying to act like an adult, and I wasn't an adult. You get me? So just make sure you out here with intent, you know, to bring help and not to dang on bring harm, if that makes sense.
I have the same sentiments, and this is something that I kept hearing in my spirit, which was what he said initially, which was take your time. There's no rush at life, and not only to get to know yourself, but get to know your heavenly Father. That is the most important thing. Um, that you could ever do, and most gift that you could give yourself is having a relationship with him, because when you know him, you know more about yourself, and you can get to know about people more by having a relationship with him, because he has a relationship with all of us, because he's all of our fathers. So get a relationship with God, and it's not, don't that's the thing that we don't make time for is God. So that's the thing that you should make time for. Everything else can wait, but make sure you make time to have a relationship with him first, and everything else will fall in place.
All right, we're going to go right down the line. Mayor, you're next up.
Hey everybody. What I wanted to say was something I was thinking about for the past couple of days. Today being my mom's birthday, happy birthday. Woo woo. Okay. But jumping back real quick, just wanted to say take your time and enjoy your family. Take the time out to look through pictures, look at old videos, look at just your if you have children, your children, your parents, your siblings, your aunts, your uncles. We don't know when someone that we love will not be here anymore. um Give them their flowers while they can smell them, because once they're gone they can't. And just literally, we sometimes get so caught up in everything that we have going on in our everyday lives, that we fail to just take a step back, inhale, and just reminisce on the things, and you'll be surprised. And it touched me because I did it today and yesterday. um you'll be surprised at how quickly time is passing. Like, time never stops. Even though we're sleeping and we're resting, it's still going. And you're growing a little bit older, your child or your sibling is getting a little bit taller, or just the little things that we don't really pay attention to, they're still happening. And I just want to just encourage you to just take a step back and embrace your now, embrace your present, embrace the positive memories of your family, friends, anyone that you hold dear to you. Don't get wrapped up in the hustle and bustle of life to where you miss out on things like simply send a text or a DM or a quick FaceTime if you have time, and just to say I love you. Don't necessarily call to ask for anything. Just, hey, I just want to check on you. I love you. It's important, and you never know, that simple text or call can be the highlight of somebody's day. So just take that moment or take a moment to just reminisce. And if you have to cry because it's they're happy tears. That's what it was for me. Like, they're happy tears, and you're just like, wow. And if you're one of those persons who happen to look and you see those things and their tears aren't happy, don't get stuck in the fact of, oh my gosh, I miss so much. It's okay. You're given the opportunity now, and you're getting the information now to know to just start from today, start from tomorrow, because tonight, is about over. But just take the time out to reach out and just to tell someone that you love and that you hold dear to you, that you love them. And that's all I have.
Amen. And by the way, it's not too late tonight. They can start tonight. They can send that text tonight. You're absolutely right. I love it. All right, Pinkies, you all are next up.
Everyone, my preacher husband always want to go last, so I'm gonna go first. Uh, so I just want to talk to people who about something that I deal with, and I am an advocate for it, or I'm starting to, be an advocate about speaking about it. I suffer from generalized anxiety. I didn't understand what it was until now. It affects me daily. It's if you do not know, is so anxiety is just like worry, but I excessively worry about things that's out of my control, and it affects my body. And like, if you can see my hands now, they're shaking. It's something that I experience, and it can be caused on by um, work, family, things that you can't control. So it's something that I'm trying to work through. And if you're just dealing with any form of anxiety, I'm just here to help encourage you all that one of the things that I struggle with is like perfection. I making a mistake, even though I understand that no one is perfect, I struggle with that. And so it's not abnormal. It's okay if you deal with it. It doesn't mean that it's something is wrong with you. It's just something that is a part of you. And you know, one of the things that I'm starting to realize is that when it comes to your family, raising your kids, marriage, financial situations, there's no rule book for how things are supposed to work. There's no right and there's no perfect way. There's no plan. You have to figure out what works for your marriage. You have to figure out what works for your family when you're raising your kids. Whatever works for somebody else may not work for you. So in all of that, I'm just here to say, take your time, process things the way you process, and just take stuff one step at a time and you get better day by day.
Yeah, that's good. One thing I guess I was starting to think about was the parenting piece, and I just want to talk about that just very briefly. And that is, we oftentimes as parents, um, we wish we can raise our kids based on our intention, but oftentimes our kids need our attention. And I feel like we have an obligation to be attentive to what's happening in our kids' life. And oftentimes, as a millennial, life moves, everything moves so fast. I mean, everything happens right behind each other. It's quick, and sometimes we miss moments that we should cherish, celebrate, and or correct in our kids. And so, just thinking about the parenting piece that we kind of talked about. We got to find a way to not be so preoccupied with life that we oftentimes just miss the essentials, the things that should be important to us, and as in regards to our kids. So just don't you can't raise a child off of intention. Give me your attention. And I'm even talking to myself because sometimes the millennial you allow your kids to grow up on TV sometimes. You get tired. Hey, get my phone. Get this tablet. You you know don't raise your kid off of that. Raise your kid off attention. Be attentive to everything that they do. Pay attention because if you don't raise your kid, television will. And what's being promoted and perpetuated in TV today is out of control. So that would just be my spiel, I guess. Just encourage you to be more active in your kid's life. If you're not active, um, take this moment, take today to begin, being more active in your child's life. I love y'all. Grace and peace to you.
I love that. So you said raise them off of intention. I mean, off of attention, not intention.
Yes, sir.
Very good. I'm going to use it. All right, Alan, it's up to you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I think what I'm going to leave with the millennial generation, people at large, but with the millennial generation is we talked earlier about responsibility, and we were talking specifically about parenting at the time. We talked about the responsibility of parenting, and hopefully you guys can hear me well. It's a little choppy now on my end, but hopefully you can hear me well. But we talked about responsibility, and what I wanted to zero in on is for our young people, for our millennials, for this generation, we have a responsibility, whether it's parenting, whether it's in business, whether it's in ministry. We have a responsibility right now. We have a big voice right now. And on one hand, we have to serve and serve big. On the other hand, we have to be creative and have big faith and then have big activation with that faith. The scripture says that God knows the plans that he has for us, and those plans are good and not disaster. Those plans are for hope in the future. And so we have to work hard to know those plans as well. We have to be intentional about knowing what those plans are, and then how we can use our voice and our platform to get them out into the earth. We started out talking about Candace and her building a platform, and we had different things to say, but the question therein lies, what are we doing with our platform? Do we even realize what our platform is? So young people, it's time for us to really, really, really understand that there's a necessity to strategize in this time. Like, we have to strategize, and we have to implement, and we have to know that we have an impact, on family, ministry, and the world at large. So those are my parting words. And everyone, I hope you're blessed today. And Bishop, again, thank you for the opportunity, sir.
I appreciate all of you, brilliant, bright, beautiful Black people. I'm proud of you, and grateful to share my platform with you, and to push you as far up as I can push you, and do for you what I would have wanted someone to do for me. And so grateful for that. Now, if any of you watching this want to get in contact with them, we'll make sure that we'll have already prepped and ready ways to get in touch with them as it relates to their businesses, as it relates to their blogs, as it relates to their podcasts, books, products. You're looking at entrepreneurs all throughout this broadcast. Each one of them have personal businesses. One of them does tattoos. He's just gonna send people to hell because you ain't supposed to get no tattoo. You ain't supposed, Amama Yashio. Hallelujah. I'm kidding. Don't inbox me. Don't be inboxing me trying to send me no hate mail, because I'm gonna clap back. I promise you, I'm too old for that now. So I'm gonna clap back at you. So don't inbox me. You can get a tattoo all you want. So I'm just messing with him. But yeah, so there's so many beautiful Black businesses that you're looking at right now, and brilliant minds. So next Monday, we're going to have some stuff already preset in there, so that when we get a chance to put them back on the screen, we can pop up some information that you all can link into, because I want what they do to be as successful as it needs to be, and whatever I can do to kind of help that happen, I'm willing to do it for them because I love them just like that. All right. So next Monday at 9 p.m., join us, same bat time, same bat channel for Millennial Monday. We're coining this particular segment Millennial Ministry and Mess. And so you will be blessed by tuning in and listening to these bright, beautiful, young Black voices as we grow and go into another. Listen, I got fighters at my church, y'all. Y'all, you pray my strength in the Lord. Just pray my strength, pray my strength. Tomorrow at 12 noon, I'll have my college babies back on tap. College, COVID, and Christianity. They're ready. They're ready. They're loaded and ready. They already started talking in our little private group box about what they want to talk about. It's going to be crazy. And then after that, my little high schoolers, these kids, man, I don't know what. I don't know what to do. So yeah, so that's what's happening. So Tuesday is COVID, college, and Christianity. Wednesday is high school, shelter in place, and spirituality. And listen, if you don't have a service on tomorrow, Tuesday night is our Bible study, 6:30 on the Soul Truth page. Tip on over there. We're gonna have something special on tomorrow evening, and I think you'll be blessed by it. All right. Having said that, God bless each and every one of you. Tonight was a good night, and I pray that you continue to allow God to be your God, and that you will bring pleasure to his heart and fame to his name, because it's in you to do it. In Jesus' name, God bless you.